Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob just got back and doing a bit of a different video. This is a con experience video per se, I guess. Um, More so just about stuff I got and just a couple of my experiences over this weekend. Yes, I went to Motor City Nightmares around Detroit, Michigan. It's a bit of a smaller con, kind of more condensed, crammed at times, horror con, but it's definitely picked up traction in terms of the guest it attracts, and definitely got pretty busy. What I mainly wanted to do this weekend was to actually meet Barbara Crampton, who I have a picture with right here. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. I'm just in my living room, so apologies for any oddities. But yeah, Barbara Crampton is someone I've been wanting to meet for a long time. Various interactions with her online over the years. Did a video chat with her at one point. Just a great human being. I love finally being able to gush about my love and admiration for her and all her work, as well as talking about some of the SAG stuff going on right now, and even an article she wrote about the term scream queen years ago. Of course, Castle Freak is one of my favorite horror movies ever, and so many of her independents I've loved recently. Got a Jacob's Wife artwork poster signed, as well as a headshot of hers. But yeah, just absolutely awesome person, and one of those that makes you feel at ease, like the more you interact with her and the closer you get to her in line, essentially. And it was kind of fun, her sort of knowing me to some extent already. And then on that end, I also met, it's upside down for some reason, I will frame both of these eventually, but Jonathan Breck. Me and my wife took a photo op picture with him. Of course, the Creeper from the original Three Jeepers Creepers movies. Say what you want about Victor Salva, but plenty of people worked on that film as well, like hundreds of others, including Jonathan Breck, who I've always had on my horror bucket list to meet. The first Jeepers Creepers especially I've always loved, and he really brought it to life as one of the only memorable horror characters of the past 2 decades. The second one is, fun, and the third one has issues, but the character itself, I think, still shines in it. But yeah, very nice guy. And I'll be showing my haul in just a second. And that is starting off with something I've been getting into recently, thanks to my wife, and that is pins and enamel pins and patches for my coats, which is actually pretty fun once you get into it. Got a couple of cheaper WWE ones, including Randy Orton, Edge, The Fiend, of course Bray Wyatt, and then I got this Godzilla patch I'm very excited to go on, as well as these larger pins of Godzilla vs. Godzilla 2, and that's from one of the comic artwork. But yeah, pretty cool, and it should look pretty awesome on my jacket. I also snag Fangoria magazines once in a while, and I had to do this when I found the 2014 Godzilla one. It's kind of cool to collect. I have a few others as well, with Jacob's Wife, as well as a Ginger Snaps one. And in terms of actual physical media, we got quite a few a couple VHS tapes and quite a few DVDs and Blu-rays. Starting off with the VHS tapes, Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp and one of my favorites, Christina Ricci. Alongside Frankenweenie, honestly my favorite Tim Burton film. Enjoyed this one a lot. Casper Van Dien also has a part in it. And then, of course, possibly my favorite movie of all time, Van Helsing on VHS, along with the 04 Punisher for being my favorite of all time, by the way. But yeah, this is a very special, awesome movie to me. It's one of those I like to collect in every format I can. Just waiting for a fucking 4K release, I suppose, at this point. But yeah, I've always adored this movie. Deal. And then moving on to Blu-rays and DVD, going with Kurt Russell's Soldier, one of his more overlooked movies. Jason Scott Lee is also in this, Gary Busey, some others. But yeah, just I think it got lost in sort of those big sci-fi action spectacles in the 90s. But I really enjoyed it. It sort of has its own, decently unique lore to it, and world building, but just being a pretty awesome action film. And then you have Ultraviolet, which is interesting because I really like Mila Jovovich. I meant to watch it on streaming a while ago, but on streaming the only version that's available is the theatrical one. and that is just very choppy as hell with how it had to cut around some of the violence. I've heard you can only see this on DVD, the unrated cut, so hopefully it's at least a bit better. I'm looking forward to seeing her in whatever this film turned out to be. Next up is Fear.com. Horrid reviews on this one, but Steven Dorff is one of my favorite actors, so I had to grab it when I seen it. And Decoys. This is a pretty good flick that I've meant to see now. I've heard it's actually a bit overlooked, so I'm really seeking out those. The cover's pretty distinct, hard to miss. And Freddy vs. Jason, another sort of all-timer for me. Probably my favorite of both of the slasher franchises. Always found this one great fun and very bloody and satisfying, for me anyway. It always was. Just never got it on Blu-ray until now. For some reason, I've always just held on to my old DVD copy. And then you have Vacancy with Luke Wilson, Kate Beckinsale. Kate Beckinsale, you know, probably among my top 10 favorite actresses as well. Yeah, sounds like a decently tense premise, and who knows, it could be really a pretty subtly memorable one. Starship Troopers 3, Marauder. Really like the first Starship Troopers. I've not seen the second, but wanted to pick this up because Casper Van Dien actually returns to the role in live action form, so I feel like it'll be worth watching for that end of it. And finally, you have The Rage, directed by Robert Kurtzman, who's primarily known as a special effects makeup artist, and this is one of his directorial efforts. Andrew Divoff stars, the Wishmaster himself. So yeah, happy to find this out and about at the con floor. And the last bit here, The Monster, one I've been intrigued by, scrolling past on streaming before, so I've only seen the physical copy. I'd much rather watch it like this anyway. We Summon the Darkness, one I've meant to watch for a bit due to Alexandra Daddario. Have seen a bit of Amy Forsyth before, particularly in Catherine Isabel's Torment. And Johnny Knoxville, in obviously a pretty different role for himself than the way he's usually perceived. So curious about that. Should be pretty good. Bullet, one I really knew nothing about, but Danny Trejo in an actual lead role, not just his face plastered on it to sell, hopefully. He seems to actually be the lead character of this, so that's good. Co-starring with Jonathan Banks of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Max Cloud, of course, a big martial arts action fan. Scott Adkins, one of the torchbearers of the action genre. Somehow forgot about this one. I know some people really didn't like it, but it seems like a fun enough premise, so I really doubt it's that miserable of a watch. And last but not least, Becky on Blu-ray. Of course, with Kevin James, who I adored in King of Queens, my favorite sitcom of all time. And feel ashamed I have not checked out this turn of his. But yeah, catch you guys next time. Peace.